Let's continue our critique on capitalism.
There's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, even though that that doesn't mean disclaimer. We're not communists. We're not thinking that it's binary.
It's not a binary.
No,
unfortunately, that's what they would lead you to believe.
Yeah, one of the things I like to say is that I like to call it hybridism, not capitalism, not socialism, not kind of hybridism. Okay. One of the things that I keep hearing from all of the boosters of capitalism is how it's lifted the world out of poverty. Capitalism alone has lifted. No, it hasn't. It has changed people from one form of poverty maybe to another form of poverty.
Brought them indoors to work at sewing machines instead of growing their food in the fields and being self-sufficient.
Sure. And going from being hungry and somewhat healthy and attractive looking to being completely obese,
miserable and specialized and boxed into a specialized skill that will not get them any fulfillment in life.
That's right. And actually, Adam Smith spoke about that. He said that when a man when he specializes, he only does one, maybe two things every day in, day out. And when he does that, it doesn't foster the kind of mind that he's going to become a problem solver and he's going to become a very well-rounded person. So it's going to turn you into the most stupid and ignorant person. This is Adam Smith.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the side effect of urbanization is that, yes, you have a wider range of things that are possible, but the people themselves are not well-rounded anymore and you can't survive on your own, and that's the whole idea. They don't want you to be able to survive on your own. You're supposed to rely on the community and, well, you can't grow your own food anymore because you don't know how and you don't know how to survive without somebody trucking in the food for you. So
into a supermarket that has 10 million items and nothing to eat, except.
And then they add the whole other layer of, you need to get a check every month from the government in order to pay for the food that you get from the supermarket that's trucked in from. You don't even know what a farm looks like, let alone how the food is grown on one and how you might survive in the case that the truck doesn't come or the check doesn't come. Or
an interesting note about supermarkets is something like I've heard some statistics like something like 95% of all items in a supermarket have in one way or another along the chain of production a Monsanto is involved in it, yet you can't even find the word Monsanto in the supermarket. So it affects everything that's in there, but you can't even if you paid somebody $1,000, say find the word Monsanto on any ingredient or.
And yet Obama felt the need to pass the act, the Dark Act, to prevent the labeling.
Oh my God!
You heard, and
what a scumbag!
Seriously, as if we need more help obfuscating the role of Monsanto in the food chain. That's really disgusting.
That's really disgusting that somebody would actually be against informing us. What the hell?
Yeah, especially now that the $289 million to the guy they won the lawsuit. The guy that got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was he was working as a groundskeeper in San Francisco Bay Area schools.
I didn't know about that.
And this was last week or something. Finally, so I bet there's a lot more lawsuits where that came from.
Well, they keep on saying that it's capitalism alone which has lifted the world out of poverty. Wait a second. What about technology? Technology, the natural flow of advancement of technology could have done it. And technology doesn't depend on capitalism. The Soviet Union made it to the moon made it to space before we did.
And that's why they want to conflate the two, as if you can't have technology without capitalism, and they just want to sort of erase that whole. The capitalists were shitting their pants when Sputnik went up because it wasn't us that did it.
Every single space development happened in the Soviet Union before the United States, and they say, that's because they held guns to the heads of the scientists. No, they didn't. That's a lie. Those people were doing it because they were ideologically driven, man. They, like the Wright brothers.
Because they were wanting to go to space. It was a scientific. You don't need to be paid to have curiosity, to have intellectual...
To be a dreamer, and that's why, like the Wright brothers, they didn't invent the plane because they were dreaming about all the money they were going to make for themselves.
Well, they want to just, found TWA and send fat people around the world to go eat in foreign countries.
No. See, the thing about it is that name one book that was ever written by a capitalist. Name one book. Name one piece of art that was
was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That sounds like a capitalist tome.
Well, yeah, but that's not an interesting book. I'm talking something that's interesting. I'm sure that the art of the deal. Besides that, no. Here's the thing. I'll ask name one poem, one work of art, something interesting that was created by a capitalist. You can't without sitting there for hours Googling it. And so the thing is if you come back to me with an answer, my response is going to be, okay, take a polygraph test. And the question will be, you Google to find out, because you couldn't think of it off the top of your head, right?
Except polygraph tests are totally unreliable.
It doesn't matter. Anyone who'd be so dishonest is to say, oh, I have a booster of capitalism. Somebody...
Well, you say, do it without using your phone. I'll hold your phone while you think.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I'll hold your Wikipedia. Excuse me while I puke on your Wikipedia.
Seriously, though the fact that Wikipedia has become the arbiter of human knowledge,
and Snopes,
as if these people are impartial, like suppliers of just everybody just they type everybody's equal with their Wikipedia edits. No, sorry, if you're anti-establishment, Wikipedia does not want anything to do with you and will ruin your reputation at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. So basically, here's the rule about capitalism. Actually, it's not even capitalism that is bad. It's capitalists.
Neoliberalism,
the human manifestation is what I have problems with. A theory is just a theory. It's the humans that's the problem.
That's the problem with every theory.
Yeah,
once the humans get involved,
a capitalist has never invented anything. They're not the innovators.
Oh, they invented derivatives. They invented subprime mortgages.
Of course, that's what
those are some real great inventions.
The bullshit they can invent.
The inventions the world would be better off without.
Yeah, no, they're not inventors. They're exploiters. They steal the inventions of others, and that's the biggest fear of an inventor, is talking to a capitalist, because he knows that the capitalist is probably going to try to steal it, right? And that's what they do.
Yeah, while you're busy dreaming and scientifically advancing your invention, they're busy filing at the patent office with your idea.
Yeah. John D. Rockefeller, one of the biggest capitalists, he didn't invent any of the techniques of drilling for oil. He simply usurped the inventions of others and aggregated it under his power, and then he just exploited it. They're exploiters.
And they're still doing it today. Mark Zuckerberg stole somebody else's idea and made it big, and this is the pattern we see.
With the help of government, of course. Yeah.
Repeated again and again throughout history. So
selling everybody out to the NSA, that slimy, And here's the problem with the capitalists. This defense against capitalists is that they always use the same defense that they always use the same apology for capitalism that the socialists and the communists say, well, we never had pure communism, it would have worked. And the same thing that the capitalists is saying, well, if only it wasn't for the inevitable rise of people like Zuckerberg's and protectionism, mercantilism, and,
it wasn't for the human element. I mean, if we were all just machines, capitalism would be great.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the inevitable high taxes and government corruption, look, the bottom line is, that's the inevitable result of when you have, individual units, individual people, agents of self-interest, and then you compound that by millions of individual agents of self-interest. Man, you've got a bloody mess in the end.
Even if you've got one person who's acting, altruistically, on the what's best for everybody else is acting on looking out for number one.
So you're gonna be at a
and capitalism
disadvantage.
encourages that too, because you're trying to make money. So who are you trying to make money for? Yourself, obviously. You're not trying to make money for some dude next door who you've never met and you're not interested in the outcome of his life.
No. And then they say, and then when they this big critique about a socialized medicine, say, oh, it's going to be the worst healthcare in the world because it's socialized. Dude, the capitalist doctor, it's the biggest piece of shit in the world. When he says, oh, we're going to have to remove your spleen, you don't know if you really need to get your spleen removed or if it's because he's got a yacht payment to make.
The capitalist model of healthcare is completely backwards because their whole thing is to keep you coming back. If they cure you, they don't get paid.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
And plus 1/3 of costs in this country anyway are insurance and bureaucracy.
That's
right. It's like the whole idea that, Medicare for all, that's going to just decimate our economy. Hello, if you remove the insurance and bureaucracy, we'll cost the same as every other country for once. I mean, we have the highest costs of healthcare anywhere in the world, and we do not have the highest quality. In fact, iatrogenic cause of death, number one cause of death in this country.
Right. Iatrogenic means death that's caused by the medical
industry, because they just need to keep sticking their fingers in there and finding more things that are wrong with you in order to keep getting that money. So once you remove the profit motive, you actually will have a much healthier population.
Sure.
And that's what they keep forgetting.
I would much rather get served by a doctor who's doing it because he loves to help people and not because he wants to make a fucking yacht payment or a mansion payment, because that means his attentions are elsewhere.
Or worse, he's actually nefariously trying to get to coming back. He's going to leave something in there so that you have to come back next month. And, oh, well, look at that. There's a complication. Well, let's write you a prescription for that. Oh, you need to come back next month to get looked at.
They did a study. That this was back in around 2001, 2003. They said that states that pay doctors who perform hysterectomies higher premiums. So states that allowed insurance companies to pay doctors higher premiums for performing hysterectomies performed more hysterectomies. And there was no other sort of mediating cause than the fact that they were getting higher premiums for doing hysterectomies. So you walk in with a stubbed toe and you say, "Doctor, I stubbed my toe," and the doctor says, "Well, we're going to have to remove your uterus." And then you say, "Well, wait a second, it's just a stubbed toe." The doctor says, "I've seen this all the time. Starts at the toe."
Who's the doctor here? Who's the doctor here?
Yeah, who's the doctor? Starts at the toe, ends up in the uterus. Better play it safe. Just yank out the uterus. "Okay, doctor, I trust you."
And of course, that isn't the only profit motive. Obviously, they have to pay back all those loans from med school and just the education industrial complex in this country. Even once you fix healthcare, that's still going to be there. So we got to solve that problem too. And but we can't have public colleges being free tuition. Can't have that. No. People might not value their education as much as if they value their education now. What they're getting educated to become a business school. If they're going to be an accountant, so that they can pay back the student loans that they've had to take out to go. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. Take that out. People might actually be able to pursue things they're passionate about.
Capitalism would be great if it wasn't for the rise of an oligarchic class. Inevitably, the supermarkets full of dog shit. People selling breakfast cereal for children, which is nothing but sugar and a rich wheat flour. It's the most garbage. These people should be thrown in jail.
The breakfast cereals. That was another thing with the glyphosate. They found out that and even some of the ones that are marketed as organic, they've all got glyphosate residues in them. Glyphosate is the one that they just sued Monsanto for $289 million and found that the guy's got the growths on his hand. I mean, it's fucking scary.
Well, the people who produce breakfast cereal for children need to get arrested and thrown in prison. Basically, they need to go to jail to think about it.
Well, it just creates the earliest form of addiction at age 4. They're mainlining sugar, basically. And so then at age 6, you can introduce Ritalin, and age 7, you can introduce Prozac. Right. Age 8, well, they're a little too hyped up on the other stuff, so you got to give them some downers too. Age 8, give them some Xanax. Age 9, well, they fell and broke their arm. Give them some OxyContin.
Sure. Well, you can make the case that capitalism is the cause of childhood obesity, type 2 diabetes, the cause of heart disease, of stroke. It's the cause. You say, no, it's not. Overeating is. Well, no. Overeating is because you work in your mind-numbing job for fucking 12 hours a day. Say, no, you don't. You work 8 hours a day. No, you work 12 hours a day. It's 2 hours to get ready in the morning, 2 hours to wind down when you come home from your fucking...
And don't forget the commute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the commute, and from your dehumanizing job of specialization, right? And so, of course, when you're at work, you're just sitting there munching on things because you need some dopamine and endorphins to pleasure centers. Otherwise, you just go crazy.
And because you're taught from a very young age to comfort yourself with food because it's all about consuming, and that way you're spending money in order to comfort yourself. It's not even like a security blanket where you buy it once and you just cuddle with your blanket. No, the food you have to keep buying again and again, and so every time you feel emotionally unbalanced, you just reach for the soda or reach for the candy bar, and then great, congratulations, you're fat.
Yeah. Capitalists are not even interesting people. That dumb fucks, man. Nobody. If you ask the people who are the biggest boosters for capitalists, say, who'd you rather hang out with on a Saturday night? And I know you hate Che Guevara because he's on T-shirts, and you think, oh, it's such a cliche, right? Well, okay. Who'd you rather hang out on a Saturday night and hear stories about guys going around killing fucking capitalism? Would you rather hang out with Che Guevara or Mark Zuckerberg? Who'd you rather hang out with? Seriously.
I would rather shoot myself than hang out with Mark Zuckerberg.
There you go. Honestly, you could say what you want about those guys, but the people who revile, people like Che Guevara, Castro, Ho Chi Minh, these people are awesome. Actually, they went around and they fucking liberated them people from the whorehouse that capitalism had turned their countries into. So say what you want about how evil and bad these Castro got the right guys. He killed the right guys. Honestly, he killed the right guys. These people were turning that place into a fucking
And it's really a testament to his staying power that even after all of the decades of embargoes, of economic repression that the U.S. has inflicted upon that country, that it's still there. He's not running it anymore, but it's still operating according to his principles.
And the people love him, except for the ones that CNN interviews or the ones that make the history books. Those are the ones that
Well, there's always going to be some schmuck somewhere that CNN can dig up. I mean, just look at what they're doing in this country with all the white nationalists that are everywhere. They dig up some guy in a trailer park and stick a microphone in his face.
Of course, we wouldn't even hear
the last Unite the Right rally had 25 people at it, but white hate is the biggest problem in the world today.
Yeah, I guess how concerned
25 people.
Yeah. I'm quaking in my boots about white nationalists.
And you look at the video, and the Antifa that shows up there to confront the white nationalists because there was no Nazis for them to punch. They started attacking journalists.
Oh, good. Well, that's a good thing.
Like, and the CNN actually had to be like, well, wait, we're on your side,
I know.
guys.
That's so funny.
I thought that was pretty hilarious.
No, CNN is pretty much universally reviled, except for some really dumb fucking people that like them.
Well, they have to actually pay to get themselves on TV in like the waiting rooms of the world in front of zero audiences.
Sure.
So it's like you have to actually pay to get an empty bank to watch your thing, and then put the closed captions up so as you're standing in line, you might happen to glance in the corner, and then a few of those words sink in, and that's all they need, just a few of those words.
Yeah, capitalism, would be awesome if it wasn't for the fact that it was completely diverted by the inevitable, which is going to be turned into a pile of shit. It doesn't lift anybody out of poverty. It just changes the form of poverty. And by the way, hunger is actually a little bit better than obesity because you live longer. And if you're going to take an IQ test, you're better off being hungry, not eating for 2 days.
Yeah, but we know what about IQ tests and how
IQ,
worthwhile they
are bullshit. But I'm saying you will actually perform better when you're hungry than when you're obese. You don't.
And there's obviously a difference between hunger, as in felt by the people of Yemen starving by the 18 million of them right now.
But I think that's not the 18 million.
18 million are in danger of starvation right now, thanks to United States.
Capitalism. Yeah. Of course, it's capitalism.
And we can stop it in a minute. As soon as we stop selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, the Yemenis are going to be fine. The port blockade goes away. Saudi Arabia doesn't know how to fight a war. They can't fight their way out of a paper bag. It's the United States who's running that whole show.
Sure.
But nope, we can't have that because let's stop fighting a war now.
Yeah. No, it's a bloody mess, and I guess the answer is some kind of system that allows. You see, the thing about it is that capitalism is a great business model, right? But you don't base a society, you don't base a culture on a business model. You base culture on things that are cultural, like the arts, the sciences, the humanities. That's what a culture should be based on. When you base it on a business model, you're going to end up with you're going to have a shitty fucking culture. It's not a culture, it's a business, right? They say, the business of America is business. No, it's not. Business of America is like being a fucking human being, man, and not just trying to fucking nickel and dime everybody.
And get one over on the guy.
Yeah, to make you have more power so you can finally get laid. Because the bottom line is that capitalists can't even get an erection anymore. They can't even get a hard on. That shows you how good capitalism.
I was telling you about that ad campaign in the subway station that they're trying to make it cool and hip to be ordering erection medication online. So
I know.
That shows how far we've fallen.
That's
the next cool hip thing.
Who's it for? Viagra or something?
No, it's the Roman or something. Get Roman.
There's a new one?
No, but I think they're selling the same pills, but it's like a new service that it sends it to you in a discreet box.
Of course.
And there's like a smiling guy with a beard hugging his box of erection medication.
The last people you need to get erection medicine are people who need erection medicine, because there's a reason why they don't. Yeah, God. Well, if there is a God up there, he made them impotent for a reason. Because they shouldn't be getting erections.
Some people, this is why we can't have nice things.
No, but capitalism leads to obesity, lower sperm counts, impotency, misery, type 2 diabetes, violence, human suffering, rape. And you say, well, how the hell could capitalism lead to rape? I'm sorry, when you're impotent,
you see a thing and you want to take it. That's,
and you're so fat.
The colonialist model.
Well, you're so obese because of capitalism, right? That religion has something to do with it, but also you're so obese that you can't attract any mate, so you have to force yourself on. I think that's a theory that'll hold up to empirical scrutiny. Actually,
it's a contributing factor for sure.
Of course, I mean the bottom line is when you have a healthy society. And there are some healthy societies out there. People
feel the need to take care of themselves, and in our society, we have basically sidelined shame, so that there's no interest in keeping yourself looking relatively presentable and actually paying attention to how you interact with other people, and now it's just like brute force. So brute force is the language that gets things done. This is what happens when you fight wars for decades and decades at a time. It's just all about brute force. Might makes right, and screw subtlety.
Yeah. So undoubtedly, without a doubt, capitalism, a capitalist society, is gonna give you Walmarts full of gadgets, all kinds of distractions that we don't need, that we don't even really want, really. It's gonna give you an abundance of junk that's just going to distract you from your true purpose. Yes, capitalism will do that, right? And if there's any reason why capitalism has, supposedly, destroyed and conquered over the socialist, communist. And again, I'm not socialist, communist. I don't want to be in a collective either. Okay, so I'm not saying that it's a binary. I'm saying though the reason why they conquered it is, of course, a society that has an abundance of guns and bullets and stuff will be able to overtake the other one. That doesn't mean it was a better system. It just means it has more weapons and stuff to overtake the other system. It means
that the binary is flawed. You can't have one all the way one way or all the way the other way.
Yeah.
And then when the two clash, it's not going to work.
Yeah, no. So, every single major innovation in human history has been developed not by a capitalist. It has been developed by a dreamer. And I wouldn't even say that Elon Musk is a capitalist. I think he's a dreamer. He's an inventor. He's a creative guy.
Well, he started as a capitalist, with the whole PayPal thing, but he had the idea to go to space and have a rocket land in its footprint, which kind of redeems him, I think, in that situation.
He's one of my heroes. I love this guy. And of course they're trying to kill him off because he doesn't go along with the system, man.